There we go on a little coffee run to a little town called Lumby. It's in just near Coldwater in British Columbia, probably about 20 kilometers from Vernon. So I headed out into the farmers' fields, and there's orchards on some sides here. You might see some apples, you might see some corn actually, and you might see some other just hay fields and things. So I just took a leisurely ride out here. They have speed limits out here, and you got to be careful because the Mounties are out here occasionally, and you got to keep an eye out for them. So you don't want to go too fast. And some of the corners are pretty sharp too. Anyway, the pavement's pretty good. Traffic's quite light, and it's easy to get out there in the morning. And this is sort of the back way to get to Lumby. There's a direct highway route, Highway 6, but I take the back route every now and then just to see some sights and look at the trees and the hills. Now, notice the smoke in the distance. This is from the wildfires in the area. And in some of these shots, you may see the sun up in the sky there. It's just trying to come through. It's just a little hazy round dot up top. You might see it when I get there. There you go. You can see the sun up top there. This is back in Highway 6 after coming through the orchards. Traffic's quite light. Traffic does get busy on the weekends and sort of the rush hour. People going way up north to Sycamoose, I think it is, which is up on Highway 1. So you can see how one spark in these grass fields would go right up the side of these hills and mountains. And if the wind's blowing, we're in real trouble. So a little further down the highway, there's some woodlots where they cut up wood. Tolco is one of the big companies. And there are just more fields, trees. The trees are pretty green. Grass is really brown everywhere. Streams are fairly dried up. There's the Lumby sign there. So it's a small town. Maybe there's, 3,000 people there at the most. Some new development, lots of old development, a few stores and things. Logging trucks, not mining trucks. Logging trucks come in and out all the time. You might see a few going down the highway here in town. There is some other type of work going on. Parks are accessible through these towns, and service trucks are running up and down all the time. They got one light in the town coming up to it. There's a little bakery coffee shop just off to the right here after the lights, and that's where I just park and have a quick coffee and a apple fritter if they have them, and sit in the sidewalk chairs there. It's right up here on the right hand side, right there where the flowers are hanging. So I just stopped here for a little while and had a apple fritter, as a matter of fact. So now I'm heading back to Vernon on a dirt road which runs parallel to the highway, and it's just a sort of a semi-hilly road. They'd sent a grader down, so it was kind of dicey on the gravel. It's usually really hard packed and you can go at a good clip, but it was a little bit choppy. Once again, the fields are really brown, and there's alerts in the area. The big fires are probably 50 miles away from here, but the smoke is certainly traveling, longer distances to cloud up the whole area. Just a nice leisurely ride in the country. You can usually see a lot more in the distance, but you can see some of those hills are obscured by the clouds on the left-hand side, or the smoke on the left-hand side. There's a few twisties here coming up that are a little bit challenging when we get back on the pavement. And this operation here on the right-hand side you're looking at is called Gleaners. And these Gleaners people are a sort of religious society affiliated with some of the fundamentalist churches. Anyway, they take various food crops and they dehydrate them, put them in bags, and send them overseas. They send hundreds of thousands of pounds of crops like beans and soup mixes and stuff like that they make right there at that factory right there. They send them all over to everywhere, anywhere that's in demand. And I think they've been sending some stuff to Ukraine recently too. There's a water treatment plant just off to the left-hand side here that's all fenced off. Supplies water for the area. An awful lot of water is used on these crops for irrigation. You can see the cornfields on the right-hand side here. And we're coming back to the pavement now. Not very exciting roads right here. These are pretty flat. There we go. There's the pavement up ahead, and quick right-hand turn, and then you can give it some gas. Don't need to worry about stop signs out here. And we're going downhill now. This is heading back to Highway 6, and there's a few twisties here. I'm just taking my time. You never know if there's gravel on the road or anything like that, so I'm just taking my time, and no point in running off the road into the cornfields and the bush here. People live out here. They must have their own well water, or they also have water trucked in for them. And some of these places are irrigated even way out here in the country. They've got pipelines that bring the water out to the fields to do that, spray irrigation way out in the middle of nowhere. On a clear day, those hills are just have blue sky behind it. Here's some of the twisties going downhill. Gotta watch out for cars coming the other way. Anyway, just heading back down the hill, eventually get back to the highway and back into the city. Thought you might be interested in seeing what the smoke issues are like today out here. This is the middle of August 2023. And we're almost done. All the best to you, and hope the weather's good where you are.